Welcome, everybody. We'll wait just another minute for a few popping on here and for audio to work. And we'll be rocking and rolling with our webinar today, AI in hiring and workflow. And I think you'll have some good takeaways today from our webinar. Okay, I have full 5. Thank you so much for being on today. Again, our focus of our GLS Friday focus webinar here, and we've moved these to quarterly now. Today is on AI, artificial intelligence in hiring and workflow processes. And I've asked a few folks to share some ideas, and I'm going to share some insights and strategies that we're using from the GLS perspective in hiring as well. Just a reminder as we get started, we broadcast these on our YouTube channel. We share from some different thought leaders, and then Amanda actually puts together a nice follow-up with some takeaways as well. So even if you're not on live today, you can get the nuts and bolts and the after our webinar today. And we will share some slides and some insights, share some ideas, strategies that we think will be very helpful for you in the field. But also know that once we turn this recording off, we're going to open up for discussion and for you to share ideas around AI as well, continue to learn with this platform as well. So thanks a lot for being on today, and excited about our topic. I'm actually going to share a screen here and make sure our other presenters can share as well with our topic and get started. First of all, I want to just cover quickly what is AI, reasons to use it, some different tools that you'll see today, and so on and so forth. So as you know, artificial intelligence here is a digital computer or robot that basically automates things intelligently. And whether you knew it or not, I noticed the other day, this GPT you see on everything. What is GPT? Actually stands for generative, got to spit that out, pre-trained transformer. I thought that was very interesting, meaning it's learning what to say by capturing information and analytics from the internet. Kind of interesting. So why would we use it in hiring? I guess that's one of the big things as you think about that from your seat. And a lot of these things you're going to see from our applications are why we're using it. But the repetitive things, do I need to create these emails every time, or could ChatGPT do it faster? Human error. And I make lots of mistakes, but maybe to be more efficient and effective, reducing human error. We're using it a lot. You're going to see here in a moment in analyzing data. And I will tell you, we always have to kind of make sure everything's accurate. There's still a human element to that, but boy, it can synthesize a lot of data very quickly. Improving writing, we're going to share with you today a couple different prompts. Matter of fact, just yesterday, I tried some emails. Create a professional email on this topic, and I promise you it came back with a more professional email than I would have come up with. And then obviously summarizing long text. I'm sure you have other reasons as well to use AI. Heard a presenter talk the other day, and I hear some people, any good technology like AI is going to be used for negative uses as well. I mean, let's be real. But we have to leverage it in education as everybody's pulled so many different directions and have so many challenges and deal with so many different responsibilities that we have to leverage the tool for the good, whether it's hiring or any other topic. But with that being said, the human element still remains. That need for a person behind it is not going to be taken away by any AI tool. And so what I heard the speaker say the other day that I added to this short presentation is still using AI, you have to put in the right prompts. I've put in a lot of silly prompts that haven't gotten me what I needed. So you still have to have human connection to put in the right prompts to the right platform. You still have to have a person that analyzes the accuracy. The other day we had a meeting and something came out of it. Somebody said something about a fight song, and when I looked at the transcription and things, it said it talked about a fight between two people. And it's like, no, that's not accurate. So you still got to cue into the accuracy, and then you have to customize and decide how to apply what AI contributes, whether it's context or slides or voice thread or anything else. So you got to decide, how do I apply? Is it a social media post? Is it something I can use in a report? Is it interview questions that I need to customize to what a hiring team wants? But there's still a human design element to using AI in the backside, the application piece as well. And I don't think we can forget that. So how are we using AI? This is why you jumped on today. How are we using at GLS AI in the hiring and workflow process? This is just a short list between job postings and emails to job descriptions, briefs, social media, press releases, things like that. We're going to showcase probably not all of these today, but I think you're going to get a good wide variety of actual things that we're doing and seeing it firsthand today. So let's jump in, and then I'm going to turn it over to Amanda and Caleb for some other ideas. First, you're seeing lots of nice job postings out there that are catching candidates' attention. There's not a ton of folks in education, so by golly, we got to catch the ones that are looking for jobs. So using this to synthesize, I pulled this one up there because you can take a whole lot of content off an internet page and say, narrow this down to what do you need to know about this district, or what are the highlights about this district, and put it in a job posting. So that's one way we're using AI. Recruitment strategies, emails, social media campaigns targeted at candidates is a good strategy using AI. And again, we'll share some more prompts with you on recruiting. Interview questions. This is one I'm using quite often. I will take the top desired qualifications of a hiring team or board, and I will say, draft me 10 questions for a superintendent interview from the board around these top desired qualifications: understanding of school finance, community engagement, instructional leadership, student achievement, like you see on the screen there. And it'll kick out some really good questions. And then I have to analyze those and customize those to what the board told me in person they wanted, or what's relevant for a specific district. Candidate summaries. We are tinkering around with this, something we use on the backside with school boards about summarizing candidates' qualifications. This is mine, just to throw it out there. I took my whole CV that's a couple pages long and said, summarize in bullets, I think was the prompt, summarize in bullets Trent Grundmeyer's qualifications by education, professional experience, and other highlights. And it came up with peer reviewed and leadership and honor. So I just one page bulleted list based on a 6 or 8 page CV, which might help your hiring team or help you analyze the top qualifications of some of your candidates, especially if you have a larger pool. The other big way we're using it is huge is survey reports. If we throw out surveys, whether it's community input or a stakeholder survey and what folks want in the next principal or superintendent, we get hundreds of responses back, and we can analyze that or take a first stab at analyzing that data using AI and see what themes, like this for this district of Neosho, what themes emerged objectively and what themes emerged as top qualifications. Then we can use those to guide the hiring process from there. Amanda's going to talk to you more about chain prompts and things like that, but I did want to just show an example. I took that same thing you saw before, where a summary of my qualifications based on a longer CV, right over here on this page, right, a bulleted list. I threw that same thing in ChatGPT, and my prompt was, take this information about candidate Trent Grundmeyer and summarize it in one paragraph. And what you see on the right here is a summary of my qualifications according to ChatGPT, based on, again, 8-page CV, down to bullets, down to a paragraph. And so if that is helpful to you, and again, narrowing candidates down or presenting them to our interview team, certainly leverage it and use it. A little bit of fun here, and Amanda's going to hit on some of this too. I think Caleb will also mention this, but emails. So one of the things that we get to have the good fortune of doing at GLS is talking to candidates that don't get jobs. Now, that's certainly part of the work. And so I asked the AI bot there, respond to a candidate or reply to a candidate that didn't get a job, superintendent job, because of experience. And you can see on the screen there, that's what the prompt said. Now, I wouldn't use that verbatim, but I can tell you 90% of that email is worded probably more professional than what I would normally share with that candidate. So take it or leave it, but thinking about emails to candidates. This was another one for the superintendent folks out there. If you're prepping for interviews or thinking about going into a situation, not just for interviews, but I would invite you to think about others. The prompt I put into ChatGPT was, what would I ask a hiring team or school board that just ended a superintendent contract under a superintendent agreement? And ChatGPT brought up some really good questions. Number 4, how would you describe the current relationship between the board, administration, and district stakeholders? Wow. Tune into that and see what the responses are. I like number 12 down here. What steps have been taken or will be taken to ensure the challenges faced by the previous superintendent are addressed and resolved moving forward? I can just see, a candidate asking that question, what the board might say or not say in response. So we're talking about AI and hiring and workflow, but I'm offering you a nugget here to think about questions and maybe some areas to explore when you're going into a tough meeting or an interview or a scenario like that. And then last but not least, what I wanted to share is briefs. In the field, you got lots of data coming to you all the time, whether it's survey data, whether it's emails, other things like that. We're finding that we can create briefs quicker, faster, more objective, with good content and summaries when we utilize AI to start. And again, no doubt that the human connection and in facilitating the right prompts and then analyzing what AI kicks out and deciding how best to apply it is going to be critical as we continue to leverage AI in the field. So those are some uses that we have with AI currently. And I'm going to turn over to Amanda Bonjour, who obviously has a great background in the field and is doing a lot of work for GLS as well. So Amanda, I'm going to make sure you can share and continue to expound on some of our AI applications here.
All right, great. Thank you, Trent. All right, can you see my screen all right? Okay, good. So a couple of things I'm just going to share today are things that I am tinkering with in my own workflow to help me kind of streamline things. And one of them is in my Google email. So it's something that's just like an extension in my email called Google Workspace, and it's through their labs. So I am not 100% certain if everybody has this extension in their email yet, but I think it's something that they're coming out with and maybe working out the kinks right now. So will be coming if you don't. But for example, this, right here is my blank email, and I can click this little magic wand and it says, help me write. So I said, write a letter asking for help editing and revising a resume for a school superintendent position, and boom, up pops this email. Another thing that's really neat about it is you can ask it to lengthen the email or shorten the email or add a professional tone. So there's a few different prompts within that, depending on what your purpose is. And I told Trent I would have loved this as a principal because kind of like he shared, some of those trickier emails that you send to staff or parents where you're struggling to think of how to word it, just even to have some parameters to start with would have been so helpful. I know there's some books out there that have like letters for school administrators, but this just creates a very professional response that would have been a quick tool to use right within your email. So part of getting clear responses or what you're looking for is having a really clear prompt. I know I've fallen victim to, setting a prompt in there that maybe doesn't get quite the response that I want. And that's part of the human error that comes along with AI. So I found an article that just shared some really quick pieces to consider when you're creating your AI prompt, whether it be in ChatGPT or Gmail or Canva, which I'm going to show you in just a little bit. And the biggest thing to start with is just identifying your purpose or goal. So when you know, what you want to get out of it, what you're trying to achieve, that's the baseline for where you go. Asking yes or no questions will get you a lot shorter responses. So it suggests to ask those open-ended questions so you can get more information. And then you again can go back through, pick and choose and take out what you don't need. But then also check your own grammar and spelling. Sometimes we get typing quickly and things don't quite go in as we expect them to. So that can just be something that sets off the prompt on the wrong foot from the beginning. And then giving it clear, specific instructions. So in just a little bit, I'll show you a formula that they offer. But the more detail you put into your prompt, the better the output will be. And then finally, giving it the context of which you need this information for. So if it's like my email said, for a superintendent position or for a superintendent posting or whatever it might be, make sure you're telling it, who do you want it to act as, or what do you want it to create it for? That's a very important piece, because otherwise it doesn't know, your goal or what it's trying to do for you. So it offers this formula, and it seems like a lot. You do not always have to use this, but I like to just see what it does with and without it. And almost always when I was playing with this, did I get a lot more detailed output from this kind of a formula. So it asks you to say who you're acting like, what you want it to do, your objective, and the format you want it in. So for an example, I asked it to act like a public school superintendent who is writing for a high school biology teacher with roles and necessary qualifications to achieve a full job description. So I know that sounds a little funny to us, because that's not how I would say that to somebody if I were asking them to write me a job description. But you can see in this video with that exact prompt what it gave to me. So I input that into ChatGPT, that I'm looking for that high school biology teacher job description. And what would have taken me probably an hour or two if I were writing a new job description is going to take this about a minute. The thing I like about this, if you look in the parentheses, Trent talked about you're going to have to go back and customize, but it tells you pieces that it needs you to specifically customize. It's not going to do for you, inputting your school name. But of course, you can go back through and customize all of these qualifications and expectations to match what you're looking for. But as the bones of a job description, it's pretty amazing. It just spits it right out and knows what you're looking for.
This is a great use. I see, sorry to interrupt you, Amanda,
No,
but I
you're good.
see, often in our work in the field, job descriptions that are very outdated.
Mhm.
And so, this would be one thing if you're looking to update. The other thing I've done is align to new standards. Maybe you're aligning to the Iowa standards for school leaders or the PESEL standards. You can give them that prompt to align your job description to. We're also using it, I didn't mention, for press releases, whether it's hiring updates or press releases from your school. That's another nice prompt that you can get a great starting point for content.
Absolutely. And always, make sure this matches what your board policies are requiring in your application or your job postings. But just a simple tool that you quickly can get something to start with is super helpful and beneficial to your time management. And then the last thing I would share is something that's new to me, but I'm very excited to kind of play with. If you're familiar with Canva or your district uses Canva for any kind of posting or social media prompts or projects, this is pretty awesome. So after I built this presentation for today, I decided to put in what I'm looking for. And I asked it to create me a presentation that I could have given you. So act like an instructor, create a presentation that teaches people how to write the most precise AI prompt responses. I put that here into Canva and it popped up this presentation. And it was pretty awesome. So it just talks about exactly what we've talked about, maybe not the specific wording, but creating clear goals, giving it parameters, don't use ambiguous language. So things that we've talked about, it created for me in just a few minutes. And if I show you that one more time, Oh, maybe now it won't since it's already done it. It'll give you a few, oh, here they are, a few options. So if you want to look at different layouts, it does this with social media posts, with um, any kind of thing that it offers in Canva, I guess. I'm losing my words here, but this presentation was pretty amazing to see that I could have just come in here and said, here's what I need. And it would give me, again, the bones to present to you today. So that's a resource that we use often is Canva. So I'm excited to play with that one a lot more.
Yeah, and under the magic button, it will take that presentation, then you can turn it into social media prompts. And I mean, the same content can be put in a lot of different methods and modalities. So click upon that magic switch if you would, Amanda,
Yeah.
just so folks can see the resize and the redesign there. If you go down, I mean, it'll take that same content or same presentation and throw it in a bunch of different forms and formats for you.
Yeah.
So it's really a great tool.
Absolutely. So exciting stuff.
Good stuff. And again, I heard Amanda say a couple times, we're exploring this. So even though these are some of our test uses today and the things that are saving us time and maybe some workload or objectivity, keep in mind this stuff is evolving so quickly that it's hard to stay in front of it. And I imagine it's the same for all of you. Speaking of that, I'm going to turn it over to Caleb Bonjour, that practical side from the superintendent lens, Gladbrook-Reinbeck Superintendent. And also mention that we've been talking about Chat GPT a whole lot here, but also, folks, remember Google is working hard to create their own AI, and it's called Bard, B-A-R-D, free, completely free. But a lot of things you're doing in Chat GPT or Canva can also be done in that new tool through Google called Bard. So, Caleb, bring us home today and with some more test uses of AI from the school perspective there. And thanks for sharing some insights today.
Yeah. So let me get into my screen share here. Let's see here. Sorry, gotta allow it to share here, hopefully. All right.
You should be a co-host.
I think it's on my end, Trent. So just a sec. There we go. All right. Can everybody see my Chat GPT screen then?
Yep.
Okay. So really what I wanted to be able to do here is just kind of show you just ultimately what I've used this for. I try to be as creative as possible within my role. I like to really try to push boundaries and different things like that. But one of the things that takes the most time is the ideation side of things. I come up with an idea, trying to work the idea out and hash some of that stuff out. And what's been amazing with Chat GPT is I use that as like that extra employee or that extra person. So I'll go there and I'll ask it to help me like redefine ideas or things like that. So one of the things I was working on was developing like some marketing materials and things like that. And so I started a conversation a while back with Chat GPT, get all the way to the top here, and was just asking, like, can you break down different objectives that there would be in regards to branding, marketing, communication in a small rural district? And so I used that as the prompt, and then it gave me specific objectives that I could work to do and define. So now if I'm trying to present this to a board and I'm trying to put into words the importance of branding, marketing, and things like that, it's already given me objectives. What was really cool about that is then I just simply asked it, and it just works like a conversation, which works really well for me because I just asked, like, can you add content creation as well? It did the exact same thing. Took that to another level and just said, could you define a vision around each of those areas when it comes to branding, marketing? And so it was able to kick out, visions. And then along with those prompts, what was amazing is the possibilities are truly endless with it. Is I could take that and say, like, okay, now can you tailor it to my district? We're Gladbrook-Reinbeck, we're a small rural district, our mascot's the Rebels, and just provide it and feed it information. And then it'll tailor all of those visions to be district specific. And all that time that I normally would have spent trying to wordsmith something, trying to make it sound great and professional, it did that right away. And so that was an amazing tool. or it's been an amazing tool for me in that way. I've shared it with my staff in regard to that too. You know, oftentimes with them, and when it comes to planning, I try to talk with them about like how, you know, when I was first getting started in planning, you know, and I wanted to provide something for students as a student example, I would try to create that student example. Like if I was giving an assignment, I wanted them to be able to see what a end product could look like. And so I would take an hour and do the assignment and try to show it to them. And with ChatGPT, I could take that prompt if it was a writing assignment and say, hey, I need a 1-page paper on World War II written from the lens of an 8th grader, and kick it out. And if it had specific parameters that I had for that, I could give ChatGPT those parameters and it could do that for me. And now I have an example that I could use. Now, kind of to Trent's point, that's bittersweet because that also means every one of my students could do the same thing. And that's where it comes into the power of teaching our students how to use this as a tool and not as a replacement for learning. You know, ultimately, if they have the knowledge, utilizing this to frame how they write something, to edit how they've written something and things like that, that's an amazing tool and a great resource that we want them to be able to use, and that kind of stuff. So ChatGPT is really one of those things for me that it is just I have an idea, I come right here, I plug it in. I'll ask it to summarize text for me if there's articles and stuff that I have. The only hiccup with ChatGPT right now is that it's for the most part updated through 2021. It's getting better at learning faster. So if I ask it to like review a chapter or summarize a chapter for me in a book that's been published more recently or things like that, it might not have all that content available to it yet. But that's another game changer when it's come to, you know, providing research to our board or researching something for staff and things like that as well. I also use it to plan agendas. So if I have a meeting coming up and I haven't had time to plan agenda, I'll give it the parameters like right here where I just say, can you develop a 1 hour or less meeting agenda for a preschool meeting between the school district, community partner, teachers, associates, basically everybody in the room, and then have it focus on these areas. And it created this agenda in seconds. And so it would have taken me a long time to do that. I literally could do that 5 minutes before I'm walking into the meeting and have an agenda that we can use as action items and stuff to move through it. And so that's ChatGPT. That was my first footstep into using AI. Now my ears have been perked up because I've seen how awesome this is. You know, when Amanda shared the stuff with Canva last night, my mind got blown again and thought that was absolutely amazing. But there's a couple other tools that I've seen recently that have come into help for me specifically. But then I also know that will greatly help our teachers and stuff out as well. One is called Goblin Tools. And so this one is probably one of my absolute favorites to show teachers, especially our special ed teachers. So what Goblin Tools does is it's the magic to-do list, and it will help me take any task that I have and break it down into steps to complete. And so like if we have a student that within their IEP says that tasks will be broken down for them, oftentimes I think teachers, I know I did, we struggle to figure out what we have to do to help that kiddo out. How far broken down does the student need it? Is it 10 steps? Is it 5 steps? Is it chunking an assignment? Is it, you know, they don't know where to get started and things like that. And so what this will do is really take, you know, that and do it all for you and then put it into the hands of the student with what else they need. So I'll give you a quick example of this. So right now I am currently working on my capstone project. So I need help planning my capstone project for my doctoral degree and I am focusing on researching best practices in mental health services for schools. So this would be the prompt. The little spicy, it tells the AI like how in depth I need that broken down. So with me and my ADHD, like I need a lot of steps, like break it all down for me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to the queue. And then I'm going to click this little magic wand, and it's going to start breaking down everything that I would need to do to work on that capstone project or plan it out. And so there it is. So it gives me these things like identify the purpose and objectives of the capstone project, review the requirements and all that. And let's say like, that's great. This is all I need. I can start checking this off, but we're going to have students that's not enough. So one of the things I know going through some of my classes and working on my doctorate degree was that like the limitations of research, gosh, I don't know like what I need to do for that. So I'm going to click that magic wand button again, and it's going to break that step down for me into smaller steps here in a second. Yeah, there we go. So now it's going to come back in and break that down even farther. And like, let's say I'm in here looking at these and I need analyze the data collection methods employed. What do they mean by that? I need help with that one too. Every single step can be broken down farther for kids or adults or anybody that needs it, which is pretty awesome. I mean, you could ask it to give you a process of mowing your yard and it'll break it down. Probably to the point where it tells you to, cut every blade of grass, but it's an amazing tool and it's a game changer. I just was in an IEP meeting the other day and showed this to our teachers and the parents. And, it's definitely one of those tools that I know I wish I would have had, years ago when I first got started in education. Another one that I show all teachers is DIFIT. So DIFIT really is just a way to take content that's being taught in class and then get it to a student's level. And so if we were reading, Amanda, let's see, you taught middle school language arts. Give me a book that you read.
We just finished Touching Spirit Bear.
Okay. So I need, let's see, topic, or I need a lesson plan for Touching Spirit Bear. Broken down. Oh, okay. So I need a lesson plan for Touching Spirit Bear. And then this is the big piece. I can choose that appropriate reading level. And so if I am teaching an 8th grade student this, but I know they're at a 5th grade reading level and things like that, now I can generate resources and it's going to help give me resources and stuff for that item or for that task broken down to their level. So we'll see if this works. This is real life, real time, Amanda. So we'll see if this would have helped you or not in your class. So here's your adapted reading passage. So it took a passage from the book and adapted it down to that 5th grade level. I believe what it looks like it's done is summarize the book there. It provides a summary then for the student to go through. So if you were doing this, you could break it down by chapter or by page number and things like that. It's going to give you key vocabulary words for a student at that 5th grade level. And then it's going to give you multiple choice questions and stuff as well. Some short answers. You can show the answers. So it's already given you that information too. So you're not having to go in and do all that. And then it has those open-ended prompts and stuff as well. So it's just another tool. We did this with one of the, I think in 4th grade, they read Hatchet. And so we know like one of the teachers came to me and like, well, I know I have a student that reads at the 2nd grade level. And so we typed in like, can you help generate a plan for chapter 1 of Hatchet at a 2nd grade reading level? And it broke down chapter 1 into more of that summary that they would be able to understand. And it gives those kids access to that content. So now they can actively participate in discussions. They got to read something too. And it was still along the exact same stuff. You're not changing books. You're not changing that kind of stuff for kids. It's staying within that content level for them. The last thing, I just saw this the other day for any districts and stuff that make videos and things like that. This one was absolutely amazing. It's called Descript. And so I'll just play their marketing video because it does a way better job than what I could do to market it for them and kind of go from there.
The thing I love about surfing is it never stops challenging you. It's a journey through the waves, but also through your very soul.
These nuggets are made from chicken.
Manatees. are the Cadillac of marine mammals.
Just wanted to welcome you to the team with this little video. You need to capture your screen while recording yourself? The script does that.
Emily, the taste of like non-chicken nuggets.
Yeah, I went too far. Okay.
So these nuggets are made from chicken, but they're made to emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. No.
Oh, that's much better.
Then edit all the blather out of your videos because my time is very precious.
Oh, that's fire.
It's been said that manatees are the Cadillac of marine mammals.
Perfecto. Can you fix the color while you're there? Make it less teal and more
Cerulean? Sure. It needs more style. It needs more clips, more gifs, more.
Place your background with something more fun? I prefer the cold void of outer space.
Let's boost that sound quality. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope.
The thing I love about surfing is it's a journey through the waves. It never stops challenging you. Well, I might have made it too gnarly.
Sounds tasty.
It's a real movie, Rhonda.
Yeah.
And so as we're looking at doing like our marketing campaign going forward for, you know, a potential bond coming up and things like that, that's where something like Descript's going to come in a lot. So we can do pre-recorded videos, record that, amplify the audio content of it so it's more of a professional quality video. We can take all the likes, things like that out as well, just by using AI because it targets that. And so the editing time, processing time, and all that's going to go down exponentially. So I haven't been able to play around with this one too much, but I think it's going to be one that really puts us, you know, we don't have the budget and stuff to go out and hire big, you know, marketing firms and things like that to help us out. But this is something that we could potentially get students to help us with, staff members to help us with, and that kind of stuff. And get them to a level of it's equal to what we'd get from a professional company and all that too. So really excited to start putting things like that into play as well. So that's all I got.
Well, thanks for now my to-do list here. I got about 3 other things to check into this afternoon when I should be getting work done, but it's good stuff. And boy, the sky is the limit with this stuff that's just changing so quickly. I know we're hitting people with just a ton of different applications today, and hopefully some that will stick or be worth exploring. But I think the other thing that we'll put on a follow-up to this is where are the places to stay in touch on AI changes? You know, the State Department, the AEAs, nobody can necessarily keep up on this stuff fast enough. So, you know, are there people to follow? Are there resources out there? We'll try to share some of those as well that we follow so that you can stay up to speed and pick the things that are most relevant to spend your time on that might help your school district and you personally. One other one that we are somewhat modeling today, but if you're not using on Zoom recordings like this, it's called Zoom AI Read, and it summarizes a meeting like this. I'll show you real quick. I had one up. We had a meeting this morning with my team, and you can see the summary here that kicks back to my email is a summary of our meeting. I can click on this and actually get a full report. Otherwise, just again, by opening the email, I get a list of chapter and topics, action items, so I don't forget to do something. That the AI on Zoom, just a simple Zoom app there, pulls out and highlights for us key questions that came out of the meeting, and then some other metrics as well, starting on time, and even though I don't always love to see it, talk time, and some of those things. In the meeting. So if you're not using AI Read, and it could be helpful with some of your webinars and meetings, super helpful in summarizing action steps and meetings and transcribing them and stuff as well. So there's another nugget. Thank you. I hope that this topic was timely. I hope that you took away some nuggets that you can use yet today or explore or for sure soon that will help you personally and your district. We're going to shut our recording off here in a moment, and I invite you to stay on and share any other ideas, strategies, tools that you have with AI with the group. And I just want to mention before we hang up today, And then this webinar that our next quarterly one is scheduled for December 1st. We're going to explore implementation of some of the new Iowa legislative updates and hear from school leaders on how those are going and what some of the needs and resources are out there on those. And I know there's lots. So that's December 1st with more information to come. Thanks for being part of our GLS Spinning 5 webinar today on AI in hiring and workflow, and look forward to staying in touch with each of you.